2 decades before Martin Luther King proclaimed that he had a dream, and 1 decade before Rosa Parks was unwilling to give up her seat on a bus, a young man took the field at his position at Ebbets Field in Brooklyn, New York. Tonight, we will tell his powerful story on the power of one. On the afternoon of April 15th in 1947, Jackie Robinson took the field for the Brooklyn Dodgers. And the amazing thing is everyone involved in the process knew what was going to happen. He was going to be called horrible names. He was going to have things thrown at him. People would actually spit on him. But what's amazing is these were not just the people in the crowd. This was not just the opposing team. This was actually some of his own teammates. See, it took a very special person to cross the color line. And when we look at this in today's world, it's so hard to believe that we were so backward thinking, that we had segregation in sports, but obviously we did. And Jackie Robinson was the first person to cross that color barrier, and he knew what he was up against. They were preparing Jackie Robinson for up to 2 years to take the field that day. And you can't talk about Jackie Robinson without talking about Branch Rickey. He was the executive who came on with the Brooklyn Dodgers, and Branch Rickey is the one who was absolutely determined to break the color barrier and to let all people play Major League Baseball regardless of the color of their skin. What a lot of people don't know is it wasn't just a color issue. It wasn't just the prejudice. What was also going on was there was big money behind this decision, because there was the regular major leagues, and at the time they had something called the Negro Leagues, and a lot of the major league teams were renting out their stadiums to the Negro League teams when they were away from their home games. So they were generating a tremendous amount of revenue, and by adding someone of color to the major leagues, they were afraid that eventually they would lose all the best players from the Negro Leagues. Therefore, the league would no longer be around, and it would be a major loss of revenue. So you had the racial tensions, you had the financial tensions, but you had someone strong like Branch Rickey who stood up for what he believed in, and then he went out and found Superman, because not only did he have to be a superstar on the field, not only did he have to be able to continue playing at that level under the most extreme pressure, but even more importantly, he had to be unbelievable as a human being off the field, because he was under the ultimate microscope, and the press and all the people who were against this were looking for any little tiny thing they could do to find wrong so they can throw him under the bus and get rid of the whole experiment, as it was called at the time. And the bottom line is Jackie Robinson incurred all the insults and incurred all the hostility, and he did not let him get him down. As a matter of fact, he was the Rookie of the Year in 1947. As a matter of fact, he was the most valuable player in the league in 1949. As a matter of fact, he made all-star teams starting in 1949 for 5 consecutive years. He led the Brooklyn Dodgers to 7 World Series and actually won 1 championship with them. So Jackie Robinson retired with a Hall of Fame career by all the measures that you measure someone, a great batting average, all the great play on the field. But what you really have to look at is the man and how amazing he was, folks. And there's civil rights leaders that are much more lifted up into the spotlight when we think of Rosa Parks, when we think of Martin Luther King, and so on. But the reality is this guy stepped up and did something that really, he had to be remarkable. And I think the only reason why we eventually got to the places we did with people like Martin Luther King is because this was a major, major deal. It was not nearly as publicized as the thing with Rosa Parks, but it was still a major, major deal. And we're just so thankful that someone like Jackie Robinson had the guts to go out and do what he did, and had the talent and ability to follow through on his promise. Remarkable stuff. But let's also understand that without Branch Rickey betting on him and taking a chance on him, things would have never worked out the way that they did. Well, now, as we all know, there is no segregation. Segregation in public schools came along about 7 or 8 years later after we got rid of segregation in Major League Baseball. It's amazing amazing how this first step broke down color barriers in so many different ways within our country. And it's amazing that one player on one team in one sport could have such a profound impact on sport throughout the entire nation, and also on the entire injustice of what was being done with racial inequality in our entire nation. It's one person having the guts to step up and do what they believe in and endure the ridicule for the betterment of hundreds of thousands of others. And we all know that that's exactly what was being told to Jackie Robinson. He was enduring all of the hatred and all of the inhuman treatment that no one should have to ever go through because he wasn't doing it for himself. When's the last thing you did something for somebody else? When's the last thing you were willing to take 1/1000th of what Jackie Robinson endured in order to do something to help other people out, folks? And it really is remarkable. Just think about it. We feel inconvenienced when a friend asks us to go and pick them up at 3 o'clock in the morning when their car breaks down. That's a major issue to us. Imagine what Jackie Robinson was willing to endure, knowing that it really wasn't ultimately for him, it was for everybody else. So now all the athletes all over the world who are able to play sports freely, and there's no, segregation, and there's no there's no racial inequality, that is all owed to this remarkable man. And I think one of the most incredible things that Major League Baseball did a few years back is they retired number 42, which is the number Jackie Robinson wore, not only from the Brooklyn Dodgers, who have now, of course, become the Los Angeles Dodgers, but they retired it from all Major League Baseball. No one, in their opinion, is fit to wear the number 42 any longer. And I think we'd all have to agree that Jackie Robinson definitely earned the honor of being lifted up and absolutely set on a pedestal in a way that no other baseball player really deserves to be honored. An amazing story, a true American hero, Jackie Robinson. We'll see you on next week's show.